Hello and welcome to the Curtain Up podcast. I'm your host, Dominic Young, and I'm joined with Lila Prince, Sade Bassan, Thomas Richardson, and Frankie Federico. Introduce yourself, guys.
What's poppin'?
Hello.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hi. I'm Lila Prince. I'm a senior at Gulf Coast. My last show was Into the Woods as Baker's Wife, and I think I'm going to college at Belmont University in Nashville for MT. Woo.
Ooh, that's funny.
Wow.
Okay, I'll go next.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Sade Bassan. I'm a senior at Gulf Coast High School. My last show was Into the Woods as the narrator, and I'm going to the University of Tampa for musical theater.
Woo!
Nice. I'll take it from here. Nope, shut up. Hi, everybody. My name's Thomas Richardson, and I'm a senior at Lately High School. My last show was Bye Bye Birdie at the Naples Players, and I was in the ensemble, and I was the dance captain. And I will be going to the Florida State University to study musical theater.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, Frankie.
Hi, everyone. My name's Frankie Federico. I recently graduated from Gulf Coast High School in 2019. My last show I did was Bye Bye Birdie at the Naples Players.
All right, and I'm your host, Dominic Young. I'm a junior at Gulf Coast High School, and my last show was Into the Woods, where I played the baker. And
Yay.
so the topic of today is just musical mishaps, the screw-ups, when things went wrong in shows, and everyone here has messed up on stage before.
Except me.
Except Thomas.
Okay.
Thomas is perfect in every
Let's calm
particular
down.
way. So who wants to go first?
I would actually. Oh,
I'll go if you want.
All right,
Go ahead,
Frankie, go for it.
All right. So, okay. Well, this has happened in a couple of different shows. I'm just gonna use one specific example. It was White Christmas, in 2018 December. We were doing a show, and in the middle of the show, we're doing this big dance number, and we have a toe touch, and these white pants that I was wearing for this certain number happened to be just a little too tight around, the butt area. So, naturally, I don't stop because, the show must go on. So your boy goes up for the toe touch and rip all the way down my crotch to the back of my butt and down my leg. And then I did the rest of the number until I was able to get off stage.
with pride.
Yes, and
With
piggybacking off of that, I'd like to add another show mishap from what happens to be the exact same show, White Christmas, and what also happens to be the exact same number. Luckily for Frankie, I'm pretty sure this mishap happened during a dress rehearsal, correct?
I'm not quite sure, but it might have been.
Well, I was wearing these same exact white pants, and we had done most of the run of the show by now, and no mishaps for me, no pants rippage. But one night, my family decided to come see the show. There was about 20 of them in the audience, and so obviously I wanted to put on a good show for them. And I happened to be wearing very bright red underwear that day. Both of my entire family is sitting in the front row, right where I was supposed to do my toe touch. And so in my brain, I'm thinking, wow, this is going to be a great toe touch tonight. And sure enough, it was a great toe touch, but my pants could not handle this phenomenal toe touch, and they ripped right in the butt. And I turned around to see my uncle crying, laughing. Not because the dance was funny, but because his nephew had a hole in his pants.
So
All
let's
right.
just say you gave 110% that night.
Yes, sir.
Good
I
story.
would also like to piggyback on that, also from White Christmas, in the same number as they're talking about.
Oh, damn.
I did this like kick into a layout on the corner of the stage every night. And so I did it with Gabby Biaggi. And I started and I went to the spot to do it. And I full on bent my leg and almost gave out, but then caught myself. So I was like, oh, I'm slick. No one saw that. And turns out two of my really good friends were in the audience, which I didn't even know at the time. And then I go out after the show. And the first thing they say to me, they're like, oh, you tripped. And I was like,
Oh, damn.
Glad you liked the show.
Well, really
So-
good friends.
That was
Oh
fun.
my god.
All this
My
talk
first
about
one was a
pants
great
is just
show.
making me think about a time in Nutcracker Goes Pop.
Yes. Oh,
Thomas
wait,
was in it, Lila was in it, Frankie
Lila,
was in
that where
it.
me and you were?
I think it was
Nutcracker
your
and
guys'
Clara?
first year. I think it
In
was
the
your first
Blackburn?
year being the Nutcracker and Clara in the
Oh
Blackburn.
my
And-
goodness.
Frankie and I were in the boys' ensemble, and we did this G.I. Joe number where we just did a hip hop dance.
Oh, I
And-
remember this.
Dominic, would you like to remind the audience about how old you were? It was a while ago.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact year, but I was very young at the time. And the costume department gave me pretty baggy pants, and I thought it was okay because it was a hip hop number. I was like, I'll just go with it. But I went out on stage. We were in the middle of this big dance break, and it's a full house, and my pants fall down to my ankles.
Right to his ankles.
Right to my ankles,
to his ankles.
all
I
the way
mean, you love
down.
to see it.
Mans is wearing like
Oh,
tighty
wow.
whities, like
Mhm.
the whole 9 yards.
And Thomas saw it all. He was in the
That was
wings.
awesome. That was I think I definitely broke character. when that
And then I just kept
happened.
dancing. I just kept
Yeah,
going.
with his pants at his ankles.
And then I pulled him up eventually. And
And the audience was dying.
ever since then, I've always worn a belt going on stage.
Good idea, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh,
There was
man.
a time during Hairspray when, okay, well, if you know me, you know I have really bad allergies, and I can't hide a sneeze if I'm gonna sneeze. It's like a Frankie, your sister sneeze. You can hear that from different rooms in the house.
Yeah.
So I go on stage and I was fine, but then I guess because in Hairspray, in the mama scene, when we were all at her house, we were eating and there was donuts, and I think powdered sugar went up my nose or something, and I was gonna sneeze and it wasn't gonna be cute. So I managed to grab Tilda because she's the mother. So I hugged her and I literally sneezed in her wig. It wasn't cute. Oh my god.
Ooh.
Yeah. Had to hide
Another-
it somehow.
Another couple of show mishaps that involve another person in this Discord chat. Lila and I had a little number together in a show called Mamma Mia, and
Oh no.
for some reason, I just couldn't get the words right. We did 4 shows, and I think 3 out of the 4 shows I sang the same verse wrong every time. And I think there was one night, did you sing the wrong words or something, and we threw each other off really bad?
We started laughing.
Oh my
It was the
goodness.
part when we went over to stage left and we were looking in the corner, and
Yes.
around me. Oh my god! Yeah, I remember that, and I just started dying. And also,
Oh
you
my
put the damn
goodness.
blanket right every night. The blanket that
What are you
saw-
talking about? That was not easy. Gotta get that blanket flat every single night.
Oh my god!
Donna.
I tripped on it once, I think.
You definitely did.
Out myself.
Oh
yeah,
my
that was fun.
goodness.
Lila, do you remember? Do you remember with the blanket when I came up to you the one scene, and then you had trouble fixing it, so I tried helping you fix it on the bed.
Mamma Mia teen
Oh.
was something else.
It really was.
Oh,
You can say that again.
yeah. Another thing. I don't know if you guys remember this. But during Mamma Mia Teen, it was probably, I think it was the matinee, so the second show. There's that part in the right before Dancing Queen when it's after Mamma Mia, and Tanya and Rosie are in the room talking, and then Donna busts open the door, and So I came off stage for Mamma Mia. I put my drill on the charger thing, and then I like was like fixing my costume, and I went like to the entrance where I run onto the platform, and then open the door, and I was like, wait a second. And I went to go fix my hair, and then I just hear silence, and I'm like, oh, what's going
I
on?
totally remember that. Yep.
And Tilda and Katie had to like improvise like a 1 minute thing. And Dawn got so mad at me because she was recording the show for her own personal files.
Oh no.
Like will not let me forget it. It was
Ooh.
yeah, it was rough.
Another show mishap that involves pants ripping that we need to bring to light that involves Mr. Frankie Federico. Do you remember the Havana pants, bud?
The Havana pants.
We were in a show called Guys and Dolls, and there was a number called Havana.
Let me explain how
Yes.
everything went down.
Yes, I will.
Okay,
Yes.
so let's just say I am gifted in the Buddha area. I guess. So these pants in the show were pretty tight, and
Wait, did you say you're gifted in the butt area?
He is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you seen my butt? Okay.
He's got some junk in the trunk.
Okay. Anyways. So there's this dance called Havana, and it's like a very style dance, Spanish dance style. And we're not doing kicks or anything crazy or toe touches or anything like that.
There's
so
a lot,
I
it's a lot
thought,
of hips.
yeah. So I thought, okay, I don't need to tell them about this. I'll be fine. They won't rip. Then during, I don't know. I specifically.
It was one of the slow parts in Havana.
No. I remember when it was, but I'm talking. I think the most memorable time was the whole last week. It happened every single night.
Every single night, his pants ripped in the
exact without fail, they were going to rip. So
and in the exact same part of the number, and it was audible too. I could hear them rip.
Yeah, you could hear them rip because also this number, it was a silent part, and it was like everyone does a pose at the same exact time, and then we all slid down into a position, and that's when my pants would go pop. You couldn't see it though. I mean, you really couldn't see it unless you saw my crotch, like below the crotch. But I mean, that was just.
That's crazy that it happened every single night. Pants ripping on stage. That's just sad.
So you just knew it was coming. That'd be horrible.
I remember there was actually a time. This was the year before Lila's first time as Clara and the Nutcracker Goes Pop. I had to wear these like white overalls over my Nutcracker costume, and Zofia was off stage talking to me about something.
Oh, Zofia,
and
dude.
I like went down into a squat or something, just like for no reason, and oh my gosh, they ripped so bad, like so bad, and I wasn't like they were in my pants, and this was like 2 seconds before I had to go on stage and die, and usually I would die like with like chest down, flat on the ground, and I would walk out and I would march out like totally like normal. But that night, I remember I marched on stage sideways, like so my entire body was facing the audience, and then I died sideways as well, like on my right shoulder facing the audience. And then at intermission, because that was at the very end of the first act, and the curtain came down with me like on the floor, and at intermission, the awesome costume shop, I'm pretty sure it was Marianne, heard about it, and she bursts in the dressing room. She's like, give me her pants right now. And so she brought them up to the third floor and sewed them, and then the curtain came back up, and we're all supposed to be in the same positions, except I was in the normal dead position instead of my sideways dead position.
Nice.
Another thing with
with
Dawn's private stash of bootlegs of videos of just shows she's done. When I was doing She Loves Me, I enter the show. I open the show by riding out on a bicycle and parking it, and then singing to Sipos, who was played by Jack Weld at the time. Um, and there was this one night, and Don was recording it. I ride out on the bike, I park it, I start singing, and it just falls over. Big crash, boxes go everywhere because I had this little basket in the front because I was a delivery boy. Oh, it was terrible. Boxes were everywhere, and it was also the night they're taking pictures of it. So now I have a photo of it on my phone.
That's really funny.
Yeah, Don
Like you're
gave me a.
singing and here.
I know. The thing is, I just
Another
I just
mishap
completely
from-
ignored it. I didn't like go pick up any boxes or anything, and Dawn yelled at me for it. She was like, "You need to pick up the boxes because I'm not looking at you. I'm looking at there are boxes on the floor. There are boxes on the floor. There are boxes on the floor."
That's right. Another mishap from White Christmas, which this show, I mean, we weren't making mishaps on purpose, and I think the reason that there's so many like little things that we messed up in that show is because we were just having so much fun in that show.
We were.
Like that show was such a blast, and so there was a scene where Jack Narcolinus was the dance coach, or like he was the dance teacher, and there was supposed to be four other people on stage learning and cleaning a dance in the scene with him instructing it. And I totally missed my cue one night, and Dawn was at the show that night, and I totally missed my cue, and they went on with the scene without me, and I was like, you know what, I'm just not gonna not go on stage because that isn't usually something you do. So I went on stage, and Jack totally saved the scene by looking me dead in the eye and going, "You're late." And we continued the scene as if it was like supposed to happen, and it was awesome. And then another mishap from that show with me and Frankie.
Oh no.
Every night at the same time, I was supposed to bring him on stage blindfolded for this mistletoe scene, and I'm pretty sure this was for a dress rehearsal, so it wasn't a huge...
No. It was during a show. It was near the end of the.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so this was during the run of the show. I'm supposed to come on from stage right, which, for those of you who don't know, is the opposite side of the stage from the dressing rooms. And Frankie and I are sitting having a nice bro conversation in the dressing rooms, and we hear the other. So basically, the scene went: I brought Frankie on stage, and Lila brought Gabby on stage, and we were supposed to uncover their blindfolds, and they were supposed to be under a mistletoe, and they're supposed to kiss. And so me and Frankie are in the dressing room as they're coming on stage, and I look at him in the eyes, and I'm like, dude, we gotta book it. And so they're on stage, and we have to sprint all the way to stage right, and I'm like, screw the blindfold. And so I walk on stage with my hands covering Frankie's eyes, and that was how we did the reveals. I just took my hands off of his eyes.
Yeah, definitely memorable, to say the least. Because
Lots of mishaps in White Christmas, it sounds like.
I mean, okay, listen, White Christmas wasn't a bad show. It just happened to be a lot of fun. So, we lost track of time.
I mean, closing night, the lead had the flu, and he couldn't be there. And so
backstage, it was really bad.
And so one of the guys, Tim Higgins, who was playing the stage manager, stepped in for this lead guy who played the general, and then our actual stage manager, Cole Butcher, stepped into the show and played the stage manager on stage.
Because he wasn't calling the show.
Yeah. So we got to be in a show with Cole, actually twice, because it happened by my birthday as well.
Yeah, when he came on and went all aboard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he brought the luggage off. By the Birdie had its fair share of mishaps too. They weren't necessarily mishaps. It's just I had to teach some people new number teach people entire numbers pretty quickly because of people not being able to show up.
Yeah, I mean that's happened for me in a couple of shows. Like Legally Blonde, someone did get the flu, and they were out for a week, and we had Julia Jar stepped in for this person in the adult show because she was playing the same role in the teen show, and we hadn't finished the show and the blocking and the songs yet. And then she learned everything that night in about 30 minutes and then went on for the show.
No,
Yeah.
And then there was also the night of Teen Catch Me If You Can, when Tyler Glogg didn't show up until 5 minutes till showtime, and everybody learned all of his lines and parts, and then he came in and was like, "Sorry guys, I lost track of time."
Oh, there was also the
track of
time in
time. Oh my
Chicago
God.
Teen when Robert, the guy playing Mary Sunshine, had to get an eye surgery, and so he left and he couldn't come back. And Christian Ziegler jumped in last minute, learned the rest of it that day, and went on that night.
That was crazy.
You know
Yeah.
what's funny is
He
I
nailed it,
also
too.
I stepped in for someone during Mamma Mia because someone had sprained their ankle.
Anthony Henderson.
if you know him.
I was gonna say, it's not.
That was I remember.
And so I learned his part that day, and did all of his lines and his scenes, and then we fixed a couple dance numbers too. But I mean, it happens a lot.
Yeah,
You'd
it does.
be
Mamma
surprised.
Mia, the boys' ensemble just kept getting
Oh
smaller
my
and
goodness.
smaller every week.
And it was a killer boys ensemble.
Oh,
It was such
yeah.
a good boys ensemble.
It really
One of the
was.
best I've ever seen at least that I've been in.
That was the best ensemble I've seen in a show there.
Oh,
Mamma Mia was
we all just
great.
clicked in Mamma Mia. It was such a good time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know. I think Chicago definitely rivals that though for ensemble.
I just love
Yeah.
that show.
Yeah.
Chicago's
And,
just
well,
such a good
speaking
show.
of Mamma Mia, I had in the same song that I kept messing up with Lila. There was a part where I had to make this stupid paper airplane out of this check, and it was just so hard because I had like 2 seconds to take the check out of my pocket and fold it into a paper airplane, and I just could never get it.
Yeah, because you were in the adult show, he, rolled something else.
Yeah, because we had to change it. We had to make it teen appropriate, and so they were like,
She chose a paper airplane, which takes like 20 minutes.
Actually, I'm pretty sure I was the one who suggested the paper airplane in a rehearsal, and I was
That
like,
would be
and I was like,
something
I
you
could
would
fold it into a
suggest.
paper airplane, and she could push it away, and Dawn was like, I love it, and then I couldn't back out of that because I was the one who decided to create it.
Yeah, you're always good at coming up with little gags to put in shows.
Oh, that's my favorite thing to do.
I mean, we
Thomas,
all love
what was your
little
what was your
hints.
favorite gag that you've put in a show?
I don't remember. I feel like you guys would remember them better than I do because like I don't the gags that I put into the shows aren't usually for me. They're for other people.
The ones in Footloose were good.
Well, there's
so many in Footloose.
Well, yeah, and that was like my first ever like actual decent high school show, and I just had a blast with that. Because I mean the stakes were like, I mean it was an important show, but like the stakes weren't as high as like a Naples Player show, and so I could still have a good time but also take it seriously.
Yeah, it's always good to have some fun but still put your best foot
Yeah.
forward.
Also, that show was just fun. Like,
Yeah.
it's a little bit serious, but like it's like supposed to be a fun show, you know?
The rehearsal process for it was honestly one of the best I've ever had. The best rehearsal process.
I agree. It was so worth driving up to Gulf Coast every day.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I loved dancing in that show. That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Erica did not
in
hold
overalls and cowboy boots is one of my favorite things I've ever done in a show.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, Footloose really was a good time.
Number.
Oh, I remember
And then
one.
being able to go to districts was really cool too.
Yeah, so I just remembered this. Thomas, do you remember in Cinderella when
Cinderella. Oh my god.
it was like the last scene, and you
Did-
like
Wait, does it have something to do with the slipper?
so no, it had something to do with your lines. Like you like forgot your lines, and you were like,
I don't remember that show very well, but I feel like I do remember messing up my lines in that show a lot.
it was at the end whenever you were supposed to realize it was me, and you were like, and you like were taking a
I
walk
feel like I remember that.
between, and I was like, what did and I was like, well, I'll marry you, and you're like, awesome, and you picked me up, and we ran off. It's something like that. Yeah,
So
that was
Prince-like. Awesome. Let's go.
Cinderella was an interesting show. That was I think it was just me stressing out about the stage kiss every night because this is like how old were we in that?
We were like sixth grade.
Ooh.
Yeah, we were definitely like middle school, and it was just when I found out that I had to kiss someone on stage, that was the biggest deal.
Yeah,
It was
Megan was like,
Megan just said, "Pucker up, kids."
Yup.
yeah,
Yup.
like, huh?
And both of us were like, "Oh my gosh."
Was it awkward?
So awkward. It was like literally the shortest kiss on planet Earth. Like, oh my god.
It felt like the longest one, but then I like looked at the video now, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
not
And
even
my family still clowns me about that.
It's funny because my brother did the same exact show there, and
Joe
when
Pitt.
he had to kiss the girl at the very end, she didn't want to kiss him, so they didn't, and they blacked it out right before they touched.
Ooh.
That's awesome.
So that whole entire like kiss scene that's supposed to be magical, you know, with the prince and the princess, just didn't happen.
my favorite stage kiss story was in Hairspray. So
Oh,
our director, Jennifer Price, she pulled me and Presley True, who was playing Tracy, and I was playing Link Larkin. She pulled us into the gym hallway because we were rehearsing in the gym that day. And Presley like wouldn't kiss me at the end of It Takes Two. And so she pushed us into a gym hallway and made us kiss right there. It was very awkward, but
That's so awkward.
it really was.
Oof.
Ugh. Yeah,
Well.
stage kisses are always weird. Especially if you because the only person I've ever kissed on stage is you, Lila, and so like it's just so funny because I've just known you for so long, and then we had to do
Into the Woods.
Into the Woods, yeah, and it was just so funny because like I know you and your boyfriend, which is the funniest part.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. So,
Well,
Sade, you haven't talked in a while. Do you have any funny stories from
Yes,
any
Doug.
shows that you've done, either as an ASM or SM or being on stage?
I mean, probably like the scariest thing that happened was probably like when I was up in the booth with Molly during She Loves Me, and then Cole had to like run down and like do all the things, and his name tag fell. Like I was in the booth watching all of that happen, and and Molly was
that
like
night.
freaking out next to me. Yeah, and Molly was like new. She's obviously an intern, so she was freaking out, and like I was supposed to be observing her to see like what a good SM does. So she was freaking out, so I was freaking out, and I was like, I don't know what to do. Oh,
Yeah, a lot went wrong that night. So, in the show, attached to a fly is a bag of leaves and they fall. But when the opening curtain went up, it hit the other fly and the leaves fell. And the curtain was about to go up for the opening number. So Amy Tran, who was an ASM for that show, ran on stage with a broom and like sweeped it to the side furiously as the curtain was going up. And when it came to that point in the show where the leaves were supposed to fall, nothing fell. So the whole gag in the show is I pointed it, and it's supposed to be like the season's changing. And Elizabeth Marcantonio, who is playing Alona, is supposed to look at him and just be like, oh, okay. And so I just pull out a leaf from like my pocket, and she looks to leaves that aren't falling.
Yeah.
oh
Ugh.
Lord.
It was
Yeah,
funny.
that
It
show
was
was a
really
ton of
like
fun.
awkward, but it was really funny.
Yeah.
And speaking of things falling from the sky, and another Nutcracker Goes Pop funny story is, they used to do like snow falling from the sky for the very last number, and it was made out of, I'm pretty sure it was soap, and so it was like bubbles. And I look up at the sky to like admire the snow, and just a fat soap bubble gets right in my eye, and oh my god, it hurts so bad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that
gotta
happened.
burn.
That happened to me a lot during White Christmas. Like, I wear contacts, and so the last number it starts to snow, and we all like go up for the big bow, and I like couldn't see anything because I was like, ah. And I like was holding hands with everyone for a bow, so I couldn't like wipe my eyes or anything. So that was rough.
Yeah,
Honestly, White Christmas, we just had so many things. Like Thomas, you remember that I don't know if you'd call them gags, but I would do like funny things every night to mess with
Well,
you guys.
my favorite funny thing that you would do in a show is during Guys and Dolls when you and Jaden Focacci would come on with fat stacks of dollar bills.
Wait. Hold on, let me
explain that.
So, okay, me and Jaden Focacci, we decided that in this scene, we're going to bet a lot of money against each other. So I told him, I said, hey, grab as much money as you can. I'm going to grab as much money as we can. And when they're doing this whole big rolling scene, that we'll just start betting against each other, and we'll have our fat stacks of money in our hand and start trading it between each other.
And keep in mind, I had probably like a wad of cash that was like a half an inch thick, and they had like 6 to 8 inches just
let's just say
wads of dollar bills.
We could hold it in like barely in one hand, but throughout the scene we'd trade each other, so then he'd have 2 hands, and then at the very end of the scene I bet him all my money and I lose the bet, and I gave him all the money and he can hold all of it in his hands. So he like put his arms together and was like holding the money, and he has to carry it back. He drops some money on the way, and then he finally gets the money and like onto the thing. But there's so much on this like set piece that he can't not show it. Like, you couldn't hide it. It was just that was one of the funniest things I do remember doing.
And I think the funniest part about that was how much Jack disapproved of you guys holding that much money.
Yes, Jack did very much disapprove of it, but we're just having fun. We're not hurting anybody, and it didn't look off in the scene, I should say.
Yeah, but he was the dance captain. He had to be serious.
Yeah, exactly. He always takes shows a little more serious when he's the dance captain.
Oh, of course. You just have to. Thomas, I'm remembering one gag that we did in Music Man, where we'd come on stage, me, you, Logan, Zatai, and Lucas Bueno, and we'd shake hands, but we'd always do like different combinations.
Oh my gosh,
of it.
you have to tell this story.
Wait, you tell it.
Actually,
I'll
I'll tell the one I remember. So, the 4 of us, we would all come on and bring on this stage every night. It was a scene change. And so me and Logan were on one side, and you and Lucas were on the other side, right?
Yeah.
And so every night we would do like a different combination of handshakes to like try and throw the other duo off. And usually it was just like me shaking Dom's hand a funny way, or like one night I would go and like totally avoid Dominic to shake Lucas's hand instead. And then one night, because we both just kind of subconsciously plan what we were gonna do right before we went on
would
stage.
talk to the other person and be like, all right, what are we doing tonight?
Yeah, and so one night I'm like, Logan, I'm gonna go up to Dom and then turn around and shake your hand instead. And little did we know, they actually planned to do the same thing. And so we shook each other's hands and they shook each other's hands, and we all four of us just kind of looked at each other in awe. What are the chances that we all plan to do that at the same time?
Yeah. And we were on stage, so we couldn't like laugh it out or anything. We were just
No.
like holding in tears of laughter as we're about to move this massive set piece off stage. Music Man was a good time. It really was.
That was a really, really fun show.
Yeah, it was.
I remember in Sister Act, like this was 3 years ago, I think.
Sister Act. Oof.
I think that was 3-4 years ago.
There's this part where Sister Mary Patrick, who was played by Julia Cornwall, she like is sneaking out of the convent, and character Sister Mary Robert catches her, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "I want to go out to a bar and dance and stuff." And I was like, like the character's a little hesitant of it, but then she's supposed to grab Sister Mary Roberts' hand and like run with her off stage, and so she grabs my hand, and like right as we're going off stage, the lights are supposed to dim, and then there's this big scene, there's big set change into the bar, and she grabs my hand and I'm running, and the lights start to dim, and I full on trip and like land on my face. Everyone like in the audience went like, "Ooh," like at the same time.
Yikes.
And this guy that I really liked was there that night, and that was so embarrassing. But yeah, it really hurt. Julia was like, and I was like, I can't really like feel my face, but I'm fine.
You know what? Sister Act was a fun show because in the adult show, I did get to dress up as a drag woman.
Yeah.
So I wore this like what is that called?
The
A romper,
sparkly
right?
sequin dress.
No, it was a sparkly sequin, but it was a romper, and it was really short, like really short, like almost up to like
to your
just
famous
the
butt.
crotch.
To your famous butt.
Yeah, no, it was up to the butt, but like the pants themselves on the romper almost came up to just about the crotch. And it was just so funny because a lot of people, when they saw the show, I'm wearing the same exact costume as her, like from head to toe. I even put on this wig to have the same hair as her. And every night, like, everyone was just stunned when this guy just comes out of this, like, out of nowhere, because they end up ripping the clothes off me because they're trying to find this woman. But they end up ripping the clothes off me, and then I'm just exposed.
Really was a good time.
I want to just highlight one thing that I'll forever remember. It was in Fame, which was a really long time ago.
Ooh.
And Frank,
Wow.
you know what I'm getting?
That's just a rough show, dude.
So there's this song called "I Can't Keep It Down," and for our version, we changed it. "I Can't Keep It Cool" because we were kids. And the last closing night, Frankie sings "I Can't Keep It Down" instead of "I Can't Keep It Cool" because
that is awesome.
Closing night, Megan, I'm off stage, and Megan is furious. I just want you to talk about like the talking. Do you remember the talking she gave you, Frankie?
You know what? It's funny because she didn't end up coming to me and talking to me after about it, because I remember I came off stage, all the guys were dying because in the scene they actually have to laugh, and every night they would sort of fake it, but when I did that, they laughed really hard. So it looked genuine, and not only that, but like when Megan like I heard that she was furious, I mean I was sort of worried but not that concerned. But I mean it was just, we were all teenagers in that show. and it really was not that big of a deal. I mean, everyone knew what the words were supposed to be.
Yeah.
So, I mean, sue me for trying to do the
And
show right.
there's been worse innuendo in teen shows.
Oh,
Like Footloose,
definitely.
I had
But
one.
see, those teen shows were directed by Dawn, and she likes to.
Oh
she likes
yeah, she
a little
likes to
more
keep it
respect
as genuine as possible.
Yeah.
Thomas, continue with your Footloose story. What happened?
Oh, I just had to do a big old air hump when you asked me what I like to do in the town. And this was a high school show, and it was so funny. I remember.
What do you like to do around here?
Yeah, and I just remember what was crazy about Footloose is, Jen kept in so many of my swear words,
Yeah.
which I was very surprised about. I mean, I didn't care because it fits the character and like it makes it so much more natural. But like, I was just surprised.
Oh, I was so sad when your one line got cut out. Mama said I can have one beer or one cigarette,
One
but if
beer
I
and
have
one
both, I
cigarette.
can never come home again.
Yep. And I'll be like, Ran, you want a beer? Make that 2 beers.
Yeah. Footloose was just such a good show. We all clicked in that show, really.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was a really,
Wait, I
really
just
cool
want to
show.
add one more thing, to that story about that kiss scene where we were late. In that show, it happened to be a tap show.
Oh
And,
my god, that's right. We
and-
were coming on stage with tap shoes.
yeah, so we ran across.
Oh, no.
Backstage, full sprint in tap shoes.
Oh my
So
god.
like, you could definitely hear it on stage as we were running across. And then it's so funny because when we walk on stage, we act like nothing happened. We had no idea what was going on.
Oh my
Oh, that's
goodness. That was learning how to tap dance from Dawn was one of the coolest experiences of my life.
Yeah. It's
That
great.
was a lot of fun.
All right, well, we are out of time right now. We'll be back again to upload next Tuesday. So you guys can send in suggestions by DMing any ideas or things you want to hear us talk about to GC Tiburon Drama on our Instagram. I want to thank all of you guys, my guests, for coming on the show.
And if there's any guests that you would like to return,
Of course,
please,
anyone who wants to
make
return
sure.
can
Always
happily
open.
return. But we'll throw in some new people too. Get some
Good idea.
new experiences to hear about. So yeah, thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Yeah.
you.